All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're diving into a really strange account that came out of a cannabis research lab, a place where hard, cold science ran headfirst into something, well, something truly unbelievable. This is a story about data, mystery, and a voice that shouldn't have been there. So I want you to just think about this for a second. It's really at the heart of this whole thing. Forget everything you picture when you think about a lab. What if the chemical fingerprints of a plant, the little peaks and valleys on a chart, weren't just data points? What if they were notes in a song? So here's our setting. Our main character, if you will, is Dr. Magriet Muller. She's a scientist, someone who trusts in things you can measure and prove, not ghost stories, and she's working late, just surrounded by the quiet hum of her lab equipment, deep in her research. Look, Dr. Muller wasn't looking for anything weird. She was doing absolutely groundbreaking science. She'd managed to identify 79 distinct compounds in these local cannabis strains. And get this, 25 of them, these flavoalkaloids, were totally new to science. This was a career-making discovery, all built on hard, solid data. But then, in the dead of night, something just shifted. In the middle of all the scientific noise on her screen, she started to notice a pattern. Not a chemical pattern, though. It was a rhythm, a kind of pulse in the data that felt strangely familiar.
At first, she probably just wrote it off. I'm tired, right? But the rhythm, it got stronger. It wasn't something she was hearing with her ears, but something she was almost feeling. A kind of deep bass note coming right out of the molecular data itself. A word was starting to form.
And then another one. These incredibly rare compounds she'd been working for months to isolate. They were spiking on her screen in these perfect intervals, almost like feedback from a guitar amp. You have to imagine her just staring at this, trying to make sense of it. And then it hit her. There was no mistaking it. That iconic lyric from Black Sabbath's Sweet Leaf was pulsing, right there from the molecular data on her computer. A song was literally encoded into the chemistry of the plant she was studying.
Okay, so a song in the data is weird enough, right? Well, hold on. Because this is where the story goes from being a strange anomaly to an impossible event. This is the moment the data stops just singing and actually starts to speak.
A voice just starts coming through the white noise of the lab equipment. It's got this weathered, unmistakable Birmingham accent. And it's impossibly the voice of Ozzy Osbourne. And he's talking to her about her discovery.
I mean, can you imagine the conflict going on in her head? Her whole world is built on measurable phenomena, on facts and data. And now she's being confronted by this impossible voice talking about singing datas and memory keys. Her entire scientific reality was just shattering in real time.
And the voice wasn't just talking. It was challenging the very foundation of her work. It was suggesting that her state-of-the-art instruments, her science, could only see a tiny fraction of a reality that is much, much stranger than we can imagine. So, just when you think this can't get any weirder, the story takes another turn. The voice starts to explain itself. It starts reframing decades of what we all thought we knew about Ozzy's wild behavior. It wasn't madness, the voice said. It was something else entirely. Now, that is a wild claim. The voice is insisting that all those notorious incidents, the Alamo, the bats, all of it, they weren't coming from a mind lost in chaos. No, they were coming from a mind that was overwhelmed by seeing too much, a deeper, more complex layer of existence. The voice started giving this whole new perspective on history. Remember that 1985 Senate testimony? The voice claimed he was literally seeing the lights behind their eyes, that he was like a conduit for all this overwhelming information and just never learned how to turn it off. And why did he stay quiet about it? Simple. Who on earth would have ever believed him? So how could she possibly verify any of this? I mean, this is an insane story. Well, Dr. Muller, being a scientist, did what scientists do. She went back to the data. And what she found next was maybe the most compelling and bizarre piece of evidence in this whole affair. She did something brilliant. She took an audio file of the song Bark at the Moon, specifically those high-pitched guitar squeals from the 1983 recording, and she ran it through the exact same spectral analysis software she uses to identify molecules. Then, she got her hands on archived radio telescope data from that same year, 1983, data that astronomers at the time had just logged as unexplained radio bursts. They didn't know what it was. The result was just staggering. When she laid the two datasets over each other, the frequencies were identical, a perfect match. The implication is just insane. That guitar solo wasn't just music, it was a transmission. And something, somewhere out there, was echoing it back.
So what does this all mean? The singing data, the voice, the matching frequencies, it all comes together and points to one single, absolutely mind-bending theory about what the cannabis plant actually is.
And it led to this incredible concept, botanical memory. The theory is that plants aren't just passive things that grow. They are active recorders. They're like living hard drives, chemically encoding everything from cosmic events to human emotion right into their own molecules. Suddenly, the work of a chemist became the work of an archaeologist. According to The Voice, those new compounds she found weren't just random bits of chemistry. They were archives. They were pieces of history, just waiting for someone to figure out how to read them.
So what do you do? What does a scientist do with data that would get her laughed out of every conference and probably end her career? Dr. Muller made a choice. She didn't publish it, but she didn't erase it either. She just logged a simple, cryptic note, saved the samples, and decided to wait, understanding that maybe, just maybe, this truth wasn't meant for now.
And that's where the story leaves us, and it leaves you, with one final thought. Whether you choose to believe this account or not, it forces us to ask a really profound question. It suggests that maybe the universe has been trying to tell us its secrets all along, and it was just waiting for us to build the right tools and have the courage to actually listen. Is that line between measurable fact and deep mystery really as solid as we think it is?